Well, in short, secondary maths is about the development of algebra. Not really about times tables, but being great at times tables is also really good. Mental arithmetic and being good at that is also really good, but it's not essential. I'm certainly not the best at mental arithmetic when it comes to it. It's much better to be curious about how to unpick problems to be able to solve a much more difficult problem. And some example topics, just to sort of whet your appetite a little bit, some example topics you'll meet whilst you're in the senior school would include things like repeated and reverse percentage changes, surds, Pythagoras, trigonometry, differentiation, and quadratic equations plays a big role as well. I think there's two parts to answer this question. The first is, what's the best preparation coming from a primary setting? And secondly, what are successful pupils like in the senior school? In leaving primary school, you want to be really good at number. And secondly, you want to develop a curiosity as to why things are true if you can. In terms of the senior school and what successful pupils in the senior school look like, they're very good at fractions, they're able to apply algebra really well, they select more than one skill to solve problems, and they have an ability to see a problem in two different ways, or sometimes more than that. The fourth form curriculum is based around White Rose Maths, and we take the best parts of that to develop conceptual thinking ready for fifth form. In the fifth form, we introduce the key ideas to GCSE essentially in 3 stages. In lower 5, we introduce a range of topics that we would typically teach in a much later setting for GCSE. Middle 5 develops this on a little bit more, so we can start thinking of maths as being quite hierarchical. We add on different layers to different topics. And then when we get to upper 5, we're looking at refining that and just putting the final bits on to make sure that pupils maximise the progress that they can. So currently all pupils at GCSE will sit higher tier entry for their GCSE, and we spend 5 years of senior school developing pupils to be able to do this. Higher tier entry allows access to grades 3 to 9 at GCSE. The grades have been reformed, so when I'm talking about the different grades, I can give a sort of a rough comparison for you to what they previously were. A grade 4 or 5 works out at, roughly speaking, a grade C, a grade 6 is a grade B, a grade 7 is equivalent to a grade A, and an 8 or 9 is an A star. Generally in the senior school, the vast majority achieve a grade 5 or above. In the maths department, we have very high expectations of our pupils, and we want to really push them as much as we can. So we're aspiring to get every pupil to achieve a grade 6 or more. On a GCSE paper for higher tier entry tend to be around 15% for a grade 4, 35% for a grade 6 and 60% for a grade 8 respectively. They seem remarkably low. The papers are reasonably challenging at higher tier, so that 15% for some pupils is a very good result, as is 35% for others. More than anything though, I think we see it every year, lots of pupils can actually achieve what they want regardless of what we think, depending upon just kind of how they're like, their maturity, their want to get it. Generally speaking, they'll be able to do that at GCSE. Trust us, trust the system. The average grade in the 2022 to 2023 cohort was 7.3, and 86% of pupils that year achieved a grade 6 or more in their GCSEs. We're very well trained and experienced individuals that know what we're doing and always strive to get the very best from each pupil we have the pleasure to teach.